Before pyramids rose from the desert, and before pharaohs were worshipped as gods, a civilization quietly formed along a single river. This civilization was ancient Egypt, one of the earliest and most enduring cultures in human history. To understand how Egypt began, we must return to a time before kings, before writing, and before Egypt even existed as a unified land. At the center of Egypt's origin was the Nile River, a narrow strip of water cutting through one of the most unforgiving landscapes on Earth. Each year, the river flooded with remarkable consistency, spreading nutrient-rich silt across its banks. This flood transformed dry land into fertile soil, allowing crops to grow where nothing else could survive. While much of the surrounding region was desert, the Nile created a corridor of life. Early humans were drawn to it not just for water, but for predictability. The floods followed a rhythm, and that rhythm allowed people to settle rather than wander. Over time, small farming communities began to appear along the river's edge. These early settlers grew grains, domesticated animals, and developed simple tools to work the land. Permanent settlement led to population growth, and population growth led to social organization. By around 6000 BC, these communities had become increasingly complex. They produced pottery, traded goods, and buried their dead with care, suggesting early beliefs about the afterlife. Archaeologists refer to this long formative era as predynastic Egypt. Although these people were not yet Egyptians in the way we understand the term, many of the cultural foundations were already in place. Art styles emerged, religious symbols appeared, and leadership structures began to form. Most importantly, the Nile connected these communities, allowing ideas and resources to flow along its length. As settlements expanded, regional identities developed. Over centuries, two major regions came to dominate the Nile Valley. In the south was Upper Egypt, a narrow stretch of land bordered closely by desert. In the north was Lower Egypt, a wide and fertile delta where the river met the sea. Despite the names, Upper Egypt lay in the south, while Lower Egypt lay in the north, following the direction of the river's flow. These two regions had distinct cultures, symbols, and rulers. They traded with one another, but they also competed for power and influence. This rivalry shaped the next major turning point in Egyptian history. Around 3100 BC, a ruler from Upper Egypt succeeded in unifying both lands. This king is often identified as Narmer, though he may also be remembered as Menes in later traditions. The unification of Upper and Lower Egypt marked the birth of the Egyptian state. For the first time, the Nile Valley was ruled as a single kingdom under one authority. This moment is traditionally seen as the beginning of dynastic Egypt. With unification came a powerful new idea. The ruler was no longer just a king, but a divine figure responsible for maintaining order in the universe. This concept was known as Ma'at, the principle of balance, harmony, and cosmic justice. The pharaoh's role was to uphold Ma'at by governing fairly, performing rituals, and pleasing the gods. If order was maintained, the Nile would flood, crops would grow, and society would prosper. If order failed, chaos and disaster would follow. Religion, politics, and nature were inseparable in early Egypt. The gods were believed to control natural forces, and the pharaoh acted as the bridge between humanity and the divine. This belief system gave legitimacy to royal power and stability to the state. As the kingdom grew, new systems were developed to manage it. Writing emerged in the form of hieroglyphs, allowing records of trade, ritual, and history to be preserved. Administration expanded, enabling rulers to control resources across vast distances. Architecture also evolved. Early tombs became more elaborate, reflecting growing beliefs about the afterlife. Over generations, these structures laid the groundwork for the monumental stone architecture Egypt would later become famous for. What began as scattered villages along a river had transformed into a unified civilization with shared beliefs, leadership, and identity. The patterns established in these early centuries would endure for thousands of years. Later dynasties would build pyramids, command armies, and leave inscriptions carved in stone, but all of it rested on these early foundations. Ancient Egypt was not created in a single moment. It emerged slowly, shaped by geography, belief, and human adaptation. From the steady rhythm of the Nile came one of the greatest civilizations the world has ever known. And this was only the beginning.